Yeah, fuck you too. He's okay, folks. Do not worry. He is perfectly fine. Just give me a second here. Physical comedy. Nothing like it, folks. I'm John Renton with the retro review of The Thing. John Carpenter's Thing. Gross. From 1982. Regarded as one of the best modern horror movies of the last, 40 plus years? I mean, it is regarded as having some of the best practical effects, especially of that particular time period, and practical effects still hold up. Sure, there are some dicey moments. The movie came out in 1982, folks. Not everything is going to age all that well, but yes, this comes to us from filmmaker John Carpenter, who created one of my favorite movies of all time, Halloween. One of my favorite horror movies, and to me, the tentpole for slashers. So, John Carpenter will go on to do Beware They Live. He'd also do Ghosts of Mars and other stuff, but John Carpenter really is a hell of a filmmaker. Even his lesser work still has some bite to it. So anyway, this was written by Bill Lancaster, who did the Bad News Bears movies and the TV show. At least it was based on his work, and features a remote Antarctic research team that is besieged by a shape-shifting alien that will do anything to kill them, get it off of that freaking rock, and get to society where it can take over the world. And there you go. If you didn't know that about The Thing, that's pretty much your plot right there. It is a remake of the 1951 cult classic, The Thing from Another World, that I retro-reviewed recently. And this is just where everybody can go buck wild with all the 80s ooey gooey, beardy, and bloody shit. Apparently, the director of the original didn't particularly appreciate what Carpenter did. Well, fuck them. Carpenter made it better. And that's nothing against The Thing from Another World. I did praise that, but it is very much a product of its time. So is this. And do I think that this is one of the best horror movies ever? No. No, I don't. Do I think it's John Carpenter's best movie? No. No, I don't. John Carpenter, however, says this is his favorite movie that he has done, and that's fair. And unfortunately, the movie did end up being a bit of a box office bomb. $15 million budget. That'd be $50.3 million today. $3.1 million opening. That'd be $10.4 million today. And a $20.8 million worldwide haul, which would be $67.1 million. So, unfortunately, yeah, most movies need to make twice their budget to really be, to have the justification to exist. This, however, did make a killing, ironically, on the home video market, which is just really starting to grow by the time we got into the, mid-80s. But yes, Keith David as Childs. He's a Voodoo Childs. You even had Blair, who was kind of the crazy guy of the group, played by Wilford Diabetes Brimley, of all people. And you had a guy named Knowles, not Nails, T.K. Carter. And you also had, Palmer, who was played by David Clennon. And you had Richard the Dice Sarted. And Adrienne Barbeau as the voice of the computer. Yeah, how's that for a little bit of trivia? So, I am going to talk about some moments in this movie. I'm going to talk about a little more trivia, and a lot of this stuff you can find on IMDb, but I'm going to talk about a few things here. But I do want to know what you guys thought of, this movie in the comments. Do you feel it is Carpenter's best movie? Do you feel it is one of the best things? Do you feel I'm not praising it enough? So anyway, watching this movie is a yearly tradition for the British Antarctic research team. And, okay, that's kind of cool. Carpenter apparently he doesn't really try to let criticism bother him, but I guess evidently hearing that the director of the original thought, oh, it's like going to the slaughterhouse. Welcome to the Fight Palace. Apparently, it's like, oh, too much blood, too much this and whatever. Like, realistically, even though, yes, there is blood in this, it's more about the body horror effects and everything. There's more ooey gooey stuff than just blood. And yeah, the makeup effects by Rob, Bottin are great. Or Botten, however the hell you say that. Great. Like, fucking tremendous. They're the selling point of the goddamn movie. Realistically, it ain't the fucking characters. Kurt Russell is great as McCready. Or Mac. And it opened around the same time as Blade Runner, which also got critically panned, and they both got destroyed by E.T. I'll give you my opinion on E.T. when I review it. Blade Runner, I'm not sure if I'm going to retro-review Blade Runner at any point, because to be perfectly honest, I never cared for it. So yeah, it made a mint on home video, so there you are. It ended up being successful. And yep, that damn space laser disc is just going to attack us and everything. It's like the Space Baby from 2001. So as we dive into this, you got to hunt it down. You got to shoot it. Otherwise, it'll get away from the facility and it'll kill the Americans. Oh, it looks just like a wolf. Actually, a husky. So after getting pissed at Adrian Barbeau for cheating him in virtual tennis, virtual chess, whatever, I digress. Let's just move on. He pours ice down the machine. I guess he wanted Adrian Barbeau to be staying at attention. So there are drums of Chevron oil or gas. It's a Chevron Valdez. And those damn Norwegians firebombing us from afar for no goddamn reason. Oh, wait, they're trying to stop an alien entity, a shape-shifting entity, from getting to us. Well, that was nice of them. Damn Lucas, he blew up the fucking helicopter again. Damn you Norwegians. I actually don't know if Lucas is a Norwegian name. I thought it was Sven, but then I realized that's Sweden. So, you should have let him shoot the dog. Unfortunately, they end up shooting the Norwegian Swede in the head. And there's a guy named Clark that really has an affection for dogs, and unfortunately that turns out to be his undoing. Kind of his undoing. The thing is, the character arcs are really kind of secondary to just what eventually will happen with the body horror. So their idea is, oh, they're Norwegian. Wait, they're only a little bit away. Let's fly our helicopter because theirs is blown up and we wouldn't be able to read the instructions. Anyway, let's figure out what's going on. We have Knowles on his goddamn roller skates because that's what everybody loved to do in the 80s. No, really, there were a lot of people that loved to do that shit in the 80s. Like, even, like, first, second grade, that kind of stuff. I mean, by the time we got to, like, 5th grade, for me, because I was born in 81, there was, it was more rollerblading and everything. The teachers were not very happy with that. Also, it was kind of funny to watch them try to do that on the gym floor and slip. So Mac and a couple people go to investigate and realize the Norwegians were a combination of both dead and also desperate to keep whatever that is from attacking them. They take some tapes for a little more research, and then they see a giant hole thing in the ice. It's like a giant, instead of what you saw, the giant block of ice that they towed in, like it was a fucking giant Nestle Crunch ice cream bar. Instead of that in the 1951 version, this is almost like a sarcophagus, a sarcophagus, as it were. Really should have workshopped that. But they see that and they're like, okay, well, clearly something was in here, but we don't know what the fuck's going on. And then they find a whole bunch of dead Norwegians, human centipede together. So they decide the brilliant thing is to have the doc inspect that. So they bring them back to this research facility. I don't know why in the world they thought that was a good idea. Meanwhile, this husky that is clearly, obviously, the alien entity is just wandering around. Not put with the other dogs. More on that here in a second. I personally not mess with abominations against any known god that there is, but I'm built different. And yeah, Clark is the mutt wrangler, and great, Clark, you caused all the, all the huskies to basically die terribly. Mac wants the flamethrower. Mac wants the what? It's like that's what he said. Now move. The dialogue exchanges in this are rather hilarious, and then basically they end up just delaying long enough where this thing can kind of get away, but kind of also not get away. Great practical effects of this thing with it's like a Hydra or the 3-headed dog thing. Cerberus, that's what I was trying to think of. Sorry, I haven't slept in a while. And yeah, then after doing that, they decide the smart thing is after this alien thing is clearly taken care of, this shape-shifting thing that's an abomination against every known entity and every known deity out there, let's look at videotapes. Were they VHS or beta? I'm genuinely asking. I think they were VHS. They see, kind of an homage to the 1951 version. Guys staying around this hole, trying to figure out the size of it. How big of a hole is it? And then they they figure out gene stuff and everything. This computer has over 400 bytes of RAM. And Blair, Wilford Brimley, figures out not only is diabetes on the rise, but as well, if you don't get what the diabetes joke is, you probably are too young to watch this. But he kind of starts to go nuts. Because he realizes, hey, wait a second, it says if this gets to civilization, everybody's going to be infected within 27,000 hours. Or 27 hours, and it just put a bunch of zeros at the end. The font was really shitty on those computers. And everyone drank a lot, like a lot of people drank. In fact, I think about $1 million worth of the budget went to booze. So, instead of, basically... I don't know, instead of just burning everything, let's just keep it for research. But then they realize that's a mistake, so they are going to burn it, but it's too late, because that thing only needs to get close to imprint on you, and create a copy, or get inside you. Kind of like how I was with my exes, but let's move on. We got to burn every last one of them. Oh yes, and Blair basically just goes absolutely insane, smashing the communication equipment and all that, realizing that, hey, this is fucked up and we need to get rid of this shit. He smashes a helicopter, he's smashing pieces of stuff, and it is what it is. We find out why a little bit later. Basically, how in the world, how is it able to, possess some people and create copies of people is what I wonder, because just some of the timeline doesn't quite line up, but whatever, it's a John Carpenter movie, it's fine. So Blair basically gets subdued and put in this, weapons shack, or, shack to an extent, some kind of shed, and he's stuck there for a while. And he basically says, watch Clark, watch him close, because Clark is really close to those dogs. Okay, makes sense. And they have this bright idea, hey, there's a bunch of whole blood that they have, and we're going to test this blood. And then whoever reacts to this blood, whatever, the blood will react differently if they're the thing. The blood will freak out. They somehow know this. Whatever, it's fine. Paranoia, everybody's coming to get me. Leave a tape of evidence for me. And then if the research team finds us, we'll be old and we'll be cold. Did that make sense? Nobody. No, it didn't. Nobody, Nobody trusts anybody now. Could it be McCready? There was a thought it could be Mac, and actually by the end you almost think it could be him. Blair basically at this point, this is after Fuchs goes away. I just call him Fucks because it's just funnier to call him that. So once Fucks is lost and everything, Blair is like, I'm calmer now, can you let me out? And there's something near the end that actually doesn't make a whole lot of sense with the amount of time that had passed, but nevertheless. Knowles is kind of everybody's pretty much freaking out because people are basically getting, gradually tied up in this kind of stuff. After Mac basically says, oh yeah, you locked me out? Here's the thing, I have some dynamite and I'll blow up every single one of us if you get near me, and I have a flamethrower. Because he had the flamethrower from before. So there is a really, really cool scene. Pretty much the most memorable scene of this whole thing. Where the doc is doing, trying to do chest compressions and going to do the shock paddles to Norris. Sinks in, mouth opens, snaps the arms off. Very good scene. Very good stuff. This is very much more in your face as far as anything... any body horror and everything, whereas Alien ramps it up for a while. And I did like how, they try to burn everything after all the, the doc and Norris and all that stuff. And then they burn Norris's head. But after Norris turns into a spider Norris. You gotta be fucking kidding. Is Palmer said at one point. And Clark is shot, by the way, at this point. So are others. Clark's blood is fine. Clark's cool. Which makes Mac a murderer. But you see, when a man bleeds, it's just tissue. But that thing's blood, it's going to freak out and it'll try and survive. And then it turned out to be Palmer. This is while everybody was tied up, by the way, which was actually kind of hilarious. And then he absorbs the character Windows. Yes, there was an actual character named Windows and everything. Mac and Windows, do you get it? Do you get it? You get it? No? Tech people, you don't get it? So, yeah, that was kind of cool. Yes, it looked like a dummy and everything being thrown around. Okay, let's look at the end of Nightmare on Elm Street as far as, you know, was it the mother or the aunt? I forget. They got drugged through the whole goddamn window, and it was obviously a dummy. I mean, let's just go with that. Freddy's coming for you. Ha, gross. And yeah, that was kind of a nice little body horror scene. And then they had this bright idea, okay, they're going to go get Blair. Where is Blair? It turns out that underneath this whole thing, there's these ice tunnels, and Blair took all these parts and has been making a ship of some variety to get out. Why? Because Blair is this thing. It can take over multiple people. How did he build that thing in just a few hours? Even just a day. How did he build that thing in a couple days? Like, I genuinely am wondering about this. Like, he could have had a fucking week and he wouldn't have been able to do it. Maybe he's been doing it just for a while and he just basically took apart the whole Norwegian. Whatever, it's fine. It doesn't really fucking matter because we're near the end of the goddamn movie. The idea is now this creature knows it can't get out and it just wants to freeze itself. And then the rescue team will come and thaw it out and will take it away. And then they'll take it to civilization. They're just going to burn everything, which they do. Blair also gets his fingers all up in Jerry's face, which is kind of funny. It looks very rubbery, but it's fine because, again, old stuff and it is what it is. And then the alien turns into a fucking graboid, knocking all these boards and everything. You know, the board stuff, harkening back to the 1951 version where they had to have it on the path. That was kind of a nice little homage. I know it's homage, but work with me here. And goes, hits like a wall, to the window, to the wall, till the sweat drops down his alien balls. To all these alien bitches crawl. To all skeet. I'm not going to say the rest of it. Nobody knows what song I'm referring to. But he gets the alien then gets the little Acme dynamite pole thing, and that doesn't work. And by the way, the stick of dynamite has just been going for like 30 seconds at least. That fuse must just be like a mile long. And then, you know, Mac yells, yeah, fuck you two, blows it up. So there we go, blows all that up. And now it's down to Mac and Childs. Where were you, Childs? Oh, I ran off into the storm and got lost. Oh, that's convenient, so it could be him. Why don't we just wait here for a while, see what happens? So it could be Mac. Could be both of them. I mean, does it really matter? Who do you think it was? I genuinely want to know. I don't know if I'm going to review the 2011 version because it was both shit and also unnecessary. But yeah, that is The Thing. Pretty damn good practical effects in all honesty, and that's the main selling point because it wasn't the characters. But it was fun. It was definitely a fun John Carpenter movie. Arguably one of his best. Not his best because Halloween. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter, Letterboxd, Blue Sky handles in the description. I'm John Retlin. Until we do... Ow. Oh, God. That was a bad stunt that I did before. Shouldn't have done that. Until we don't do stupid stunts at an age that we shouldn't be doing them, happy trails to you.